Nestled in the hills and trees and old buildings in North Kansas City, you will find Ben Holladay Distillery.
Also known as McCormick's for those who've been around a minute.
Ben Holladay was a hell of a business tycoon back in the 1800s, and you just do a light touch on the history of that guy, and holy smokes, you're going to be impressed. But unfortunately, the only thing left of his vast empire is the Ben Holladay Distillery, and in this area alone, it is renowned for the incredible juice that that it produces. So that's what we're going to get into on this episode of Savor the Burn. Stick around.
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Savor the Burn. My name is Jonathan. Across the barrels from me is Mr. W2. How do you do, sir?
I'm doing quite well. And yourself?
I'm doing all right. Trying to let go of some of the crud. The crud that's been going around, and it's a whole damn thing. But
it grabs a hold of you and hangs on sometimes.
No, yeah, it wants to hold me underwater for a while. But by golly, I refused to stop breathing. Because here I am, and no matter what, this episode has to be filmed because we have to get this fantastic bottle. So rewind a little bit. We went to the Ben Holladay Distillery, sometime last year.
However,
I think we had a pour of this, but
we absolutely did.
It's like a little half pour.
What we had was the standard soft red wheat bourbon.
Okay, and how does this differ?
This is the Rickhouse proof.
Rickhouse proof. Okay.
So instead of being 90-ish, it's 119.8.
Okay, so this one might be close to jet fuel.
So I hope it's not.
We're going to figure it out. I'm hoping that it's going to give us a great amount of delicious taste.
I'm excited for it.
I am too.
So I'll get into the specifics on how I come to know this in the next episode, but I want to go ahead and point out real quick, because it's going to become evident here real soon, that is not a corked topper on there.
Oh, shit.
It is a plastic screw-off cap.
And
we know who has plastic screw-off caps, right?
Say it with me. Jim Beam.
So, again, I'll get into how I know and come to realize, oh yeah, that is just a plastic cap. Because you'll notice this bottle over here no longer has a plastic cap on it.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Yeah, that one, there's a story with that one. So definitely stay tuned. If you like what we do, be sure to hit subscribe and click that bell notification to stay up to date on all things Savor the Burn, at least here on YouTube. And if you're only, listening to the audio-only version of it, that's definitely fine because that's everywhere podcasts are heard. And we're 100% happy to have you wherever it is that you want to consume our content, including Patreon.
Yeah. Should we get into some Ben Holladay history?
Yeah, you talk, I'll pour.
That sounds like a great idea. That'll give us a little bit of airtime, too.
Airtime.
I guess there's no pause for pop with a plastic screw-off.
No, well, here, it makes a little noise here. Yeah, there's something there.
All right. Well, who was Ben Holladay?
Who was he?
Ben Holladay is one of the greatest unknown figures in American history. Born in Kentucky, he moved to Weston, Missouri as a teenager to seek his fame and fortune. He became the original transportation tycoon, famed as the Stagecoach King, for creating the Overland Express stagecoach lines that were ultimately sold to Wells Fargo. Those who know Wells Fargo, their logo is the stagecoach. Just one piece of a transportation portfolio that also included steamships, streetcars, and a railroad. He even owned the Pony Express for part of its brief history. With everything from silver mines to saloons also under his domain, he was the largest individual employer in the U.S. in the late 1800s. That's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And kept close counsel with everyone from President Lincoln to Brigham Young. He built an empire that spanned the entire country, and this distillery is the only piece left standing. Little did he know that whiskey would be the last legacy that carried the Holladay name well into the future. So just a little bit about where it all began. The Holladay Distillery was established over 166 years ago, but the history of the property goes back even further. Over 50 years before founder Ben Holladay acquired the land, Lewis and Clark passed through in 1804 during their famed expedition to the west. They discovered and charted the limestone springs that run abundantly throughout the property and traveled through what would later become Weston, Missouri. It wasn't until 1837 that the town of Weston was officially established, earning its name by virtue of being the farthermost town west in trade.
It's a fun little town.
Weston, okay.
It's got a lot to offer.
I see what they're throwing down. It was a small town of fewer than 300 people, but it was the second largest port on the Missouri River at the time, surpassing both Kansas City and St. Joe. That's interesting. Ben Holladay purchased the land in 1849. The site consisted of several acres of land and a stone building that had served as a meat packing house. Upon discovery of the site's limestone spring, the idea of Ben's next business venture was born. As a Kentucky native, Ben knew that limestone water was optimal for bourbon production, and he and his brother David went to work on acquiring the necessary items needed for distillation. In 1856, Ben and David distilled their first batch of bourbon under what they had named the Blue Springs Distillery. Thought that was kind of an interesting piece. The barrels were stored in an ancient cave on the site that had previously been used for meat curing and preservation. To this day, the same cave is intact and continues to be a fan favorite along the tour route of the facilities. And place where they put some bottles.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in another episode. I'm going to skip around just a little bit, but over the next century, the distillery changed hands only 3 more times. Purchased by George H. Shawhan in 1900, Isidore Singer in 1936, and Cloud L. Cray in 1950, before being acquired by the current ownership group in 1993. So I pulled out just a couple dates to kind of talk about. 2016, Holladay Distillery tours began again after a 20-year hiatus. 2019, and this is something I did not know. I didn't even know. I knew that Kansas City whiskey as a style was a thing, an official, registered, legal type of whiskey. I did not know that there is also a type of bourbon known as real Missouri bourbon.
And I didn't know that before tonight, before we started recording this episode.
According to House Bill
That's
266, signed on Thursday, July 11th, 2019, it's not very old.
Nope.
Any whiskey labeled as Missouri bourbon must not only meet the federal standards for bourbon, but also be mashed, fermented, distilled, aged, and bottled in the state, aged in oak barrels manufactured in the state, and beginning January 1st, 2020, made with corn exclusively grown in the state. The law went into effect on August 28th, 2019. 2023 was the first year Holladay soft red wheat bourbon, real Missouri bourbon, was available.
Okay.
Missouri straight bourbon.
Maybe I thought it was rye because it smells like rye on the nose. I mean,
a little bit. There's also a lot of wheat on that.
I don't know what the tasting notes say yet, but I thought it smelled like right off the bat.
I don't have any tasting notes.
You have none?
I have no tasting notes.
Okay, well, we're flying blind.
But I will say this is a 6-year Holladay soft red wheat bourbon Rickhouse proof, distilled by Ben Holladay.
And I like how it's got all these all that cool information on the side of the bottle like that.
This is 59.9% ABV, 119.8 proof. It is a straight bourbon, but more than that, it is a Missouri straight bourbon, which means that the barrels that it was aged in were manufactured and made in the state of Missouri. It means that all the corn that went into this, all the other grains that went into this were all grown and processed here in the state of Missouri. This was distilled fall 2017 and bottled April 2024. Barrel selection is from Rickhouse C. Number of barrels in this batch was 116. Doesn't sound like a whole lot to me.
No, it really doesn't.
And
I like how there's floaties.
Floor 4, 64% of this was from floor 4 and 36% was from floor 3. Being the Rickhouse release, I wanted to feature floor 4 over 3 to get a bit more of that full flavored experience I wanted in this product. I knew that 3 needed to be a variation in the March-April bottled in bond and the April Rickhouse. And based on the product availability, this was about as much of a difference I could make. I actually created this batch in the lab at the same time as the March bottled in bond, knowing both together would close out the fall 2017 barrels. So a trade-off in one changed the barrels for the other. I think the combination that I used really worked well to create 2 unique bottlings. That is from the Distiller's Journal on their website. And some bourbon nerd information that I pulled. On 4/4/2024, a total of 116 barrels were dumped to produce our April 2024 Rickhouse proof.
There's a lot of barrels.
With a barrel loss
To me, that's a lot of barrels.
with a barrel loss of 31%.
Wow. So that's like Angel's share?
Yep. During aging.
Wow.
A total of 14 distilling days were used in the batch from the fall 2017 distilling season. The weighted average for the floor was 3.64, and there were 6 different ricks used as seen below. And I didn't pull that information over, but
Yeah, that's fine.
But 31%, that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's damn near an entire third.
So all that said, I'm ready to get this on the nose. Actually, I've been.
Yeah.
As soon as you crack that bottle on,
You could smell it.
I already had it on the nose.
Yeah. So I thought, right away, I thought there was some rye grain on there. It smells like oak. The cereal grains, which is that wheat.
Yep. Well,
And
to me, the wheat that I've learned to pick up is thanks to all the Weller that we've had between the 12-year, the Antique 107, even the Special Reserve. It's the original wheated bourbon. It's just a great example of what difference adding wheat as opposed to rye does to a bourbon.
And
This is nice.
See that solid line up here where I've been constantly swirling it? You guys have seen it. I like to swirl it. I like to wait for the legs to kick in. For whatever reason, this one here, the legs are taking a very long time to kick in. But like right here, there's some like solid drip lines starting to come in.
It's thick.
And I mean, it's really thick on the top and skinny legs down here at the bottom. Like this is unique just to see in your glass, like without even touching it. But also I'm picking up on some caramel and some citrus and like a light bread, almost sourdough kind of.
I was going to say sourdough.
But it's not strong, not like that. That Leopold Brothers.
Well,
I mean, that was just like, woo! That was like.
So with this being a wheated
sourdough
bourbon, I
explosion.
don't have a mash bill on this, but it is a soft red wheat bourbon, which means it's not a 4-grain. So therefore, wheat should be taking the place of any rye in the mash bill. It should be corn.
So there shouldn't
wheat,
be any rye
and barley.
Well, I don't know. Maybe my sniffer's not up to snuff, and I'm mislabeling things in my head.
Hey, just real quick while I'm thinking about it, and don't forget more on the bottle presentation aspect. But I just couldn't help but notice the backside of that says DSP 5.
Number 5. Yeah,
they're the 5th registered distillery in the state of Missouri.
In the entire state of Missouri. And I love that embossed detail and then down at the bottom since 1856. Which was a long time ago, guys.
It's been a minute.
So, and down here at the bottom on the front, Holladay Distillery.
Now,
we'll get into that here in a minute.
Palate.
Let's do it.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers. Sweet. There's that rye bite.
There is a rye bite to it. In all fairness, though, that could be just the Rickhouse proof.
And then there's some of the heat. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I took my daughter to Rieger's not too long ago. we were going through some of the ryes. She hadn't had a rye before, and I was trying to tell her what to expect before she took a sip of
That could be either a love or a hate experience.
Right. And I said, so a lot of people, like, they'll get, it's more of it's spicier. So people think, oh, it's really hot. But it's not so much heat as it is a bite from, like, the actual spice of the rye. So to me, when it kind of feels like, a bunch of ants taking their pinchers to go squeeze, and then they let go, that's about how long it lasts, right? Anything after that is just kind of the ethanol kind of punch.
Yeah.
But
I like this a lot.
Yeah, this is great on the nose, and on the palate, I definitely got a wow.
I think the proof on this is also going to help make a cocktail out of this. Sing.
It would have no problem. Usually, when you make a cocktail, you don't want to shoot for like the tavern strength at 80 to 90. Shoot for like 90 or above. Our guy, the Salty Whale, he likes to use, is it larceny?
He does a lot of larceny.
I think that clocks in like right at like 94 proof, 92. And he says he loves to use his, if he's doing like a milk wash or a fat wash of some kind, it's a whole thing, guys. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out the Salty Whale on, Instagram, TikTok. Thirsty goodness. Sorry.
You keep calling him Salty Whale because he makes
salty
it
whale.
pop!
Yeah, you got to put a little saline in there to make it pop.
Yeah, he's the thirsty whale, not
thirsty
the
whale,
salty
not the
whale.
salty whale. I think whales, they live in salt water, and
sorry, I might just leave all this in there. And
that's fine. Yeah, do it.
Suffer
do it
through.
Yeah, because I'm not perfect. I don't want people thinking I know a whole bunch of shit that I don't.
Leave us a comment.
Yeah.
Fill up his inbox. Jonathan at savortheburn.com.
Send me an email. Bring the hate. And if you want to, tell W2 here, how fucking smart he is, send him an email, W2 at savortheburn.com.
Works for me.
So on the
really
the sweet and the caramel, it carries through over into the finish as well.
Yes.
But on palate, it's more than just sweet. It's more than just caramel. What else? What are you picking up on the as far as tastes go?
I would say sweet wise. I think it's a burnt brown sugar, and I say burnt because there's definitely a charred oak that's there too that I think is turning the brown sugar sweetness into a little bit of a burnt brown sugar. But yeah, I agree. Caramel, vanilla. Some of that orange peel.
I think those baking spices
zest,
are in there, like
baking spices, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Yep. And yeah, just a hint of sourdough.
Even on the palate.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's coming in on late finish.
Not as prominent as it was on that West River Whiskey Company from Deadwood, South Dakota. That had a lot of sourdough on it.
Yeah.
But just a little bit.
Yeah, they know how to make some whiskey up there in the Dakotas.
And what else are you gonna do?
I don't know.
I guess gamble.
Watch the snowfall. Wait for Sturgis.
Ride your motorcycle. 3 weeks out of the year. Plow snow the rest.
Tasting notes on the finish. Like I said earlier, the sweet and the caramel and the sourdough comes in through here for me on the finish.
Pause for bottle pop. I do love you, Ben Holladay. I was just like, it's a plastic cap.
That's all right.
That if it bounces across the floor, it might end up breaking.
Maybe.
I
think the vanilla carries through, and those baking spices show up nice and soft.
I think the vanilla carries on through, and I think the tail end of the finish, the vanilla opens up and becomes more of a vanilla bean.
Yeah, overall, this is a very nice
There's
pour.
a Missouri hug on this one too.
Yes, the Mo hug. But I mean, what do you expect? It's 119.8. You said. Yeah, I mean that's that proof comes in screaming, but it's not overwhelming. If you're a fellow, whiskey enthusiast like us, you know what to expect. It's not like you're blindsided by this. It's written right there on the side of the bottle. Come on. And speaking of the side of the bottle, we got into this here a little bit, but you got a cool neckband that goes over the top. It is a plastic screw top. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's metal over plastic. That could be metal. I don't know. But it's black the way we like it.
I can tell you from experience, it is plastic.
It is plastic. Okay, that's fine.
With the little plastic little seal insert.
I like the red. I like the contrast between the cream white and the red.
I love
I love how some of it's gloss and some of it's not.
The labels are super cool. And I love the intentional kind of sideways.
Yeah, it's kind of on there at an angle.
It's haphazard, but it feels homemade. It feels like it is not mass-produced, manufactured. It is. It's produced with love.
With love and care and attention. Distilled fall of 2017, bottled April 2024. This is everything that he already said earlier. Rickhouse C.
Yep.
You've got all this information on here
with the floors,
the floor number, and the percentage of what they did. I mean, it was floor numbers 3 and 4 in Rickhouse C. 36% of that in 3, 64% out of number 4. And like he said in the distiller's notes on the website, he got he created this in his lab.
Yeah. I think it's cool that, according to this, 2023 was the official release of the soft red bourbon. And
it gets better and better and better.
And releasing it as a real Missouri bourbon. I think that's cool as hell. I'm
going to give this 2 drops of water.
Sorry, I didn't pull the pipette out.
It's fine. I accidentally put in 3. But it is 119.8.
You're not going to dilute it down any.
Dude. It worked at Rieger's, and Molly lost her mind. She's like, "Oh my God, it's like a completely different whiskey."
Did she like the rye?
Dude, put in 3 drops. Come on. All right. Come on. Yeah, she did. She did like the drops. The drops. She did like the rye. Give that some good stirrage. And tell me that's not a caramel bomb.
Faith, is my Swirl J improved any? Last time she told me I needed some work on it.
Oh, really? So,
oh, hey, look at that.
Is that what we're supposed to? That does look good. Look at that. Look at that. Zoom in on that.
Well,
nice.
I lost that one.
It's fine.
Cheers. 3 drops of water. It's just crazy. There's a little bit of a pepper spice that opens up.
Mm-hmm. Pepper.
I feel like...
And the legs are reacting a lot different now, too. 3 drops of water, guys.
I feel like this is a complete contradiction, but I feel like those 3 drops of water helped round out the proof, which made it a little softer, but then brought the pepper bite up a little bit.
I don't know how it did that. I don't know how it did that.
Do you get that too?
I 100% agree with you, though.
It doesn't drink as hot as it did before, but there is a pepper bite that's on it that was not there before.
Like black or like white pepper, black pepper, like the peppercorns, that kind of pepper, not like Hatch chili or jalapeno. It's wild. Just a couple drops. The finish, though, I really did like the finish.
The finish was great.
It didn't come through like screaming with 15 different notes.
Right.
But they were strong. They were strong and they were right there. So I think my score on this one's going to be pretty good.
And for those who are wondering how we score these.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine just asking me about that today.
I feel like people are like, yes, you tell us that all the time. But you know what?
It bears repeating.
It makes sense because there is method to the madness.
There is.
So we have 4 categories. We have nose, palate, finish, and bottle presentation. You have 4 categories. Each category can be 0 to 5.
0 to 5.
However you're feeling. Obviously, 2.5 is the halfway point.
Yep.
And up from there is a good score, 0 to 5. You add all those together, that gives you a total possible of 20. And then you divide that by 2, you end up with a nice 0 to 10 rating. Because everything is rated on a 10 scale. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why we settled on that, is because just a 10 scale just makes sense, and it's widely kind of used for a lot of things.
It's used in dating.
So why not?
It's used in well, I guess not so much in like rating for like, you know, restaurants and Amazon reviews, but I mean, if they took their scores and multiplied it by 2 instead of divided it by 2, that they could end up with a 10 rating on that. But whatever, that's them. They can figure that noise out. We have our thing, and by golly, that's how we do it.
So on that note, what did you give it on the nose?
On the nose, I gave it a 4.25. I was wowed immediately. It took me a while to kind of figure out what I was smelling, just because really it's been so long, really, since I've had a solid pour of anything. And
this is definitely beyond a solid pour.
Yeah, this was... and that's nothing against Riegers. I was just talking about Riegers. Nothing against them. But this one was so high proof, it really made me concentrate, and it really made me think. It really made me pay attention. So yeah, anyway, so 4.25 for me on the nose. How about
that's
you?
Awesome. I'm not far behind you, but as usual, I'm just an even 4.
Even 4? Okay.
Just a step behind you.
On late palate, I'm picking up chocolate. I'm not going to write it down, but like, because... You know, I did add the water to it. Yeah, that affects things.
Sure.
So I can't write that down here on the list.
How about the palate?
How about the palate? Palate for me, it bumped up a quarter point to 4.5.
Well, that's where I landed on the palate.
Really, 4.5. So it bumped up a half point for you.
Sir.
Nice. How about finish?
I came down as usual to a 4.25.
That's right where I'm at.
Which is still above my nose, but. Yeah, it just kind of settles on down.
Yeah. Usually for us, the nose ranks lower than all of it. Yeah. But, you know, for different folks, you guys might nose these things completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bottle presentation. We talked a bit about the bottle.
Presentation. It's a great bottle. I love everything they are doing with their packaging on this. I love the tape, the neck tape on there.
Yep.
And as you can see, you know, we've got the one barrel over here. It's black, but it's still the same type of design. You know, they use that type of a label.
It's like
they've got like 3 different versions of it. Here's the red background. There is also a white background, and then there's also the black background with the stagecoach. So they have found a great method of utilizing consistency across a lot of different variations, and I love the ticket style with the perforated jagged edge around there, so it looks like a ticket. Yeah, deliberately put in an angle. Again, it adds to the whole. This was crafted by somebody, not mass produced. And all the things.
I remember the first time we saw that kind of frayed edge looking like a ticket. It showed up on a bottle of.
It was Rieger.
Was it Rieger? I thought it was that Junction 35.
It could have been. It could have been that.
But it could have been Rieger. I mean,
but I was thinking about the private stock. The private stock label, and actually a lot of their labels, actually all their labels have just a slight little perforated kind of an edge to them. I think that's a great little touch. I love the embossed DSP-5 on the back side of that.
Right back there in the back. Not sure if you guys can see that, but I mean, you probably saw it on the bottle pics earlier.
And I'm honestly not docking points for this.
For the cap?
But it's not like this is a $20, $15, $20, $30 bottle.
We didn't talk about MSRP on this. What is it, MSRP on this?
Honestly, I don't remember. I think it's like 50 to 60, somewhere in there. Yeah. But I honestly don't remember. But it's not on the lower end of a Jim Beam product. White label.
Definitely not.
Or even a black label for that matter. I would have loved to have actually had even composite cork.
Right.
I would have liked an actual stopper in it and not a twist off, because it's at some point that's going to fail. And
there is a gasket on there. I mean, you can see it.
There is. But if the bottle falls off a shelf and rolls across the floor, that plastic little vapor barrier inside there is going to crack
it's gonna pop and
turn into millions of pieces. Anyway, all that to say, I gave it 3 3/4.
3 3/4. Wow. Okay. You dropped it you gave it a full half point lower than I did. Okay. So first off, you're right about the cap. It does leave it wanting.
There's a lackluster.
However, when it comes to the actual product of it inside, but that's not bottle.
I will redeem myself on the next episode because I have a method to the madness.
Now,
please continue.
I don't think when it comes to redeeming yourself on stuff, these are just our thoughts, man. Like this is just what our first impressions are. You know, it's like if you don't agree with us, that's fine. Just leave us a comment and tell us how crazy we are. Because at the end of the day, who the fuck are we? And also, at the end of the day, who the fuck are you? You know, so like, none of this matters. They put this package together. Yeah. Ben Holladay put this package together. They were happy with it. They kicked it out. Not everybody has, embossed letters and information on there. The label here with the truck backed up to the house, and they're loading up the barrels onto the truck. I mean, that has historical significance on there.
I love that. Yep. Just like Boulevard. Their pale ale is a picture of a pickup truck with the barrel in the back of the truck. I don't know. I have not researched into it what the story is behind this picture, but like Boulevard, that is depicting and capturing the fact that when Boulevard first started in 1989, I believe.
That late.
They delivered their very first barrel ready to go. Very first keg, I should say.
Okay.
Beer, not whiskey.
Right.
But they delivered their first keg to Ponex.
Ponex. Guys, if you're in the Kansas City area and you like Mexican food,
gotta go to Ponex.
Gotta go to Ponex.
Ponex received the very first Boulevard keg. And it was delivered in the back of John McDonald's pickup truck.
Wow.
And and it was a pale ale. Pale ale was their first and is still to this day one of two of their flagship products. The pale ale and the wheat. Are considered their two flagship products.
Yeah, everybody loves that wheat.
But the pale ale was the very first thing off the line. They delivered their very first keg they're like, here, put this on tap, tell us what you think.
Yeah, wow, that's something.
Down in history. So anyway,
that's something, and I love.
There's stories to be told, and like I said, I gave it a 3 3/4.
Yeah,
but I love everything about this, and just you pointed it out, the pickup truck in there. There's a story there.
There's a story
and that
there.
story connects and is telling us about the history of Ben Holladay. So
maybe it's not like Redbreast Irish whiskey and the story of their bird in flight, but. I mean, who gives a shit? Like, when you're done with this bottle, what are you going to do with it? Put it up on your mantle as an heirloom piece or something? No.
Speaking of Boulevard,
recycling.
It's going to go into a Ripple recycling bin.
There you go. Yeah, the big purple one.
Get that glass recycled.
Yep. Do your part. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yep.
So yeah, you gave it a 3 3/4. Final score time.
Yes.
So you heard all my scores. 4 1/4, 4.5, 4 1/4, 4 1/4. Added all that up, came up to 17. God knows what. Divided by 2, it is now 8 5/8. 8.6.
That's not a bad score.
5, not bad at all.
Mine came in at 8 1/4.
8 1/4.
Yep.
We are not far off from one another, and really, how could we be? Because this is a really good representation of what a high proof bourbon should be like. It has so much to offer. It has really strong, kick you in the nuts flavors, and it's really good.
And like you mentioned right out the gate, about a year ago, we went out on a hunt day. We ended up in Weston. We went to the Snug, and then we ended up down at Ben Holladay.
What's up, Mike?
and we got ourselves a flight of this. So they were flight pours, so they were super small.
They were like half of,
which is
a
fine.
regular pour.
We wanted to get a well-rounded sampling of what they had available.
And we were happy with it.
And we did try their soft red wheat. Mm-hmm. It was not the Rickhouse proof version of it. This is a mighty fine pour.
In the setting, we tried we didn't drink it inside. We went out on the back.
We went on the patio.
Back deck patio thing. It's kind of a big old screened in area. So, do you have anything to add to this?
This is a great pour, and I'm excited that we have multiple quality key distilleries right here in town. You know, you got Union Horse, you got West Bonds Whiskey Company, you got Rieger's, and you have Ben Holladay that, like I jokingly, referred to earlier, but for the longest time, everyone knew that McCormick's was right outside of Weston. And on Main Street, there was the McCormick's tap room that you could go in there and get a quarter shot of anything that they had.
Wow.
You can still do that, by the way.
Wow. Oh my.
I think they still do, but I mean, they do all your flavored vodkas, and they've got some gins, and they've got, over the years, at some point, they transitioned to Ben Holladay as giving the name back to the original founder, Ben Holladay. And now it's just the Holladay Distilling Company. And so their main tap room is still on Main Street. Like I said, I'm pretty sure there's still a quarter a shot, and there's a little plastic, little communion cup, little shots.
Still, by
but
volume,
it's a quarter.
Yeah, it's a quarter. Yeah, you put 4 of those in there. You probably got your half pour from your whatever. Yeah, it's a quarter. Come on.
Or take a 2.5 minute drive down the street to the distillery. Wind yourself around. Park behind the White House there.
Yeah, put on your ski mask. Run in there. Listen up. This will only take a minute. What's going on here?
Whiskey.
So yeah, if you're in Kansas City, stop by Ponak's, talk to them about beer, but definitely try their margaritas and that number 22, them fucking fried tacos. My God, there's a God and he loves us. That's proof right there. Speaking of proof, this bad boy does clock in at a high proof of 119.8.
Yes, sir.
119.8 proof, and holy smokes, does it catch you right in the kisser. But once you get past that initial proof shock, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
I'm not mad at it, and I'll even go as far as say I like it.
He likes it. I like it too. So if you're in Kansas City or anywhere near, and you can get a bottle of this here, the Rickhouse proof, definitely do it. And if not, if you can only get the proof down version of the soft red wheat, do it. Let us know what you think.
Bruzel has also done barrel picks from Ben Holladay.
He has. So if it's good enough for Bruzel, it's good enough for me.
So not just if you're here in Kansas City, it's all over the place. Faith and Tim, they now can find Ben Holladay from time to time on the shelves,
and that's
in
really
Tennessee.
Cool. That's really cool. We posted some photos in the social groups. If you're not part of a social media whiskey group, we encourage you to do that. I posted some bottle pics in there, and nobody had a bad thing to say about Ben Holladay and any of the offerings that they do. Well, except for the anything aged in a French oak barrel, but that guy seems to think that it's French oak barrels that give him like wicked heartburn. But
this is toasted.
That's,
by the way,
man, I'm looking forward to getting into that. And if that sounds good to you,
with that, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification.
Yep. Stay tuned and keep your peepers peeled. And if you want notifications for all this, it's
gonna
free.
Happen.
It's free to go over on Patreon. You can go to savorthebourbon.com and click the drop-down menu if you're on your mobile device. But it's right across the top of the web page there if you're on your desktop or tablet, probably laptop, whatever, what have you, whatever. And you can see where it says Patreon. Click on that sumbitch, and you can sign up for free just to follow us. And if you want to support us financially, please do.
Yep.
We'd be happy to have you along. That's how you can get a hold of the newsletter. And, you also get some other things. There's different tiers. And shed no tears. Just send your dollars. We'll definitely squander them. On whiskey bottles, whatever. Anyway, it'll help us out, and you get some cool stuff in return. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Savor the Burn. Thank you, Ben Holladay, for coming out with some incredible soft red wheat juice. It's chef's kiss. Mwah. And so whatever this is, it is really good. So no matter who you are, where you are, what you're drinking, and who you're drinking it with, never forget, keep on burning.